What's up, guys? Welcome back to AJ's Builds. Today on AJ's Builds, I'm going to be doing a cooling system flush, and I'm also going to be doing an oil change. It's about 30 degrees out, so it's a little chilly. And it's supposed to snow tonight, so I'm going to try to get this done. I'll show you guys how to do a flush, new coolant, and of course I'm just going to do a little oil change on the thing. This is my new 330i that I just purchased, and I'm just doing some maintenance stuff, and it gets really cold here where we live, so I want to make sure I got the coolant system flushed and up to good spec here. So let's get started. I'm going to jack the car up. So I got the car jacked up, and I got the left side up higher than the right because the drain plug on the block of the motor is on the right side. So I tipped it up higher on the left so that it drains down on the right. So now I'm going to get underneath, pull the undershield, and I'm going to get the plug for the block. But first I'm going to do the plug on the radiator. Alright, so now I'm going to take off the Phillips screws for the shield because the drain plug is under this part here. So, now, if you look up, right up here, behind the alternator, see the bolt right there? So I want to pull that plug and drain the block out, because I want to flush the system and just get everything out of the system. But before I do that, I'm going to drain the plug on the radiator. Alright, so now I'm going to loosen that bolt and drain it out. Working in the dark here because it gets dark at 5 o'clock now, and that's when I get out of work. So I'm going to sit back here, try to get a good angle you guys can see. Drain this plug here. Alright, it's almost out. Just a little stuck from the rubber, so I don't want to break it, but I'm just going to lightly pull it out here. There we go. Start to dribble, and make sure you stand back when you pull that plug so you don't get in your face. I forgot to take the cap off of the top of the expansion tank, so once I removed the cap off the expansion tank, it immediately started draining out. So that holds the pressure in the system and doesn't allow it to escape down because it's held tight by pressure from the air, from being like an airtight system. So as soon as I undid the cap there, it started to drain out the bottom. So don't forget to do the cap. Stupid me forgot to do that. So let's get back under here, see how this is going. And the reason it is green is because the guy before me put green in. You want to make sure you don't use green. The reason being is the green coolant has a lot of phosphates in it, and that is something that ruins the aluminum blocks and the propeller inside the water pump, and it just puts a lot of stress on the cooling system. That's why BMW came out with the blue. That's what it's used for. That's what they recommend, and it's safe on all of their components that they use. So the blue fluid that I bought from Bavarian Motorsports online. You can get it at ECS Tuning or Euro parts or anything like that, but I highly recommend it. It's a little more money than the green, but it's going to keep the life of your coolant system lasting a lot longer. So I'm just going to keep letting that drain there, and then shortly I'm going to do the drain plug. Alright, so the coolant system is just about done draining, and I'm going to put the plug back in. Now, again, working with flashlights because it gets dark super early now. Just about done. I'm gonna jack it up a little more on the right to make sure anything that could be in there still drains out. So I got the car leaning a little more towards the left side now so that the gravity helps bring the rest of the coolant out. The longest part of this job is just waiting for it to drain. And I'm going to do the drain plug soon. In the meantime, I'll show you guys here. So again, you can get all these online. But when you drain the freeze plug... Give myself some light. Alright. So when you drain the freeze plug out of the block, it is really important to buy a new crush washer. And also, on top of buying a new crush washer, I just got a new bolt too. So I got the crush washer and the bolt that's going to be going in soon. The system's almost done draining. If you guys are wondering what that annoying squeak noise is, it's the power steering pump on my daily car. I just drive a daily Hyundai just that gets good gas mileage, and I use it in the winter time, and it's about winter now, so I just use that so I don't get these all rusted out on the road. So that's what that squealing annoying noise is in the background. So put the plug back in, tighten it up. And one thing also that I do after I put the plug back in, I just have some brake clean that I'm gonna spray just to make sure that I get all the leftover coolant from it draining out, and that way when I look under here and I check for leaks, I know that that old stuff is off. Alright, so now let's get under and pull that freeze plug. That freeze plug on the drain is going to be a 13mm. So let me grab that. Alright, so my lighting's a little limited tonight, but I'm trying to shine my light on. So right up here is that 13mm freeze plug. That one right there. So I'm going to try to get my wrench in there and get that loose. And I'm going to move the drain bucket. And this one's really a mess because there's nowhere for the coolant to run other than on top of the steering rack and all your components up here. So it's a little messy, but that's why I got some brake clean to clean up after. So. So also, I know you guys probably know, I'm just going to mention it, that because the block is aluminum, I would highly recommend to not over tighten it, or you could strip the threads out. So let's put it in now. Again, the coolant, like I said, is green because the guy before me decided to put green coolant in. And again, I don't recommend it because there's a lot of phosphates and chemicals in the green that is not good for an aluminum block. And that's why BMW came out with their recommended blue, because it protects the motor internally from all the phosphates and harsh chemicals, because theirs doesn't have them in it. And it also helps allow the system to last longer. So don't forget to put your crush washer on. That Ezra was just checking to make sure it didn't fall when I was catching it. Now I'm just going to catch it hand tight, then give it a light torque by hand. And like I said, snow's coming. It just started snowing, so that's great. So AJ's Builds is living it real out here, out in the cold, the dark, and now we got the snow on top of that. So let's put this up here. Grab my 13mm. It was very easy to loosen, so I'm gonna go by that feel and memory there, so I don't over tighten it, because I don't want to strip the block. There. And just one more slight turn, very slight. And tight. Alright, so as you can see, it's snowing, like I said it was going to. And now I'm going to fill the system up here. So I'm just going to get the car level, so I'm going to lower it a little bit more on this side. Because you want it level, so you can get the proper amount when you're checking it. Alright, so it's about level right now. So, when you're doing a cooling system on a car, it is recommended, and I like to do it, use distilled water. The reason being is distilled water is boiled first, which helps get all of the contaminants out of the water and stuff. So I use distilled water. They recommend it, and it's really cheap, and that's what I do. So here's the coolant here, Bmw Coolant. It is blue. For these E46s, they recommend 8.5 liters of coolant mixed with water. So it's 50-50, and like I said, you mix it with distilled water. And 8.5 liters comes right about 2.2 gallons. So we're going to put a gallon of blue and a gallon of water, and then anything extra over that, we're just going to put a little more coolant than water, so we don't have more water than coolant. So I'm going to crack this here, and we're going to fill it up. Actually, before I fill it up, I forgot to mention, you want to crack the bleeder valves. And the bleeder valve, I upgraded to a brass one because those plastic ones always crack and break, and the brass is cheap. It's about $5 online. Put a gallon of this in here. See how good my steady hand can be. So what you want to do is you want to crack your bleeder valve screw, and as you can see, you might not be able to hear it on the camera, but it's hissing some air out, which is how you help bleed it. So you leave that cracked so that air comes out, and then the fluid, and once you have no more air coming out, then you know you have air out of the system. Once it stops bubbling out and it just starts flowing out, which is coolant. So now what I'm going to go do is you turn the car on, and you put it at the highest possible temperature, and you put the fan speed on low. That supposedly is supposed to open it up so that it comes through the passages. A lot of other cars that you do is you let it get to operating temp. Once it's at operating temp, the thermostat will open, and that will allow the coolant to come through. But I read online that if you turn that fan on with the with the heat as high as possible. That's supposed to kind of do the same thing, open up the heat passage. So that's what I'm going to do here because it's snowing and I don't want to sit out here all night for the car to warm up. Got about a half gallon to go. And it's snowing like crazy, but like I said in this video what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna give up till it's done. Even though I'm freezing cold, it's about 28 degrees now. It's snowing, it's dark, but I'm gonna do the oil change quick. Oil change will only take me about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna do that, and you guys can sit back and watch me freeze. That's okay though. I enjoy working on cars, especially these BMWs. A lot of guys don't like them because they're can be a little complicated at times, but I like it. I like having the how to say, challenge. Of course, this isn't a challenge, but other stuff can be. But every car has something that's tough, right? So again, I'm squeezing it, just getting some of the air to come down here, and waiting for some fluid to come out of that bleeder valve, which I know it's not yet, because the little float there that checks it is still all the way down. I mean, it comes up, but then it settles back down after I fill it. And I bought another gallon because I'm going to do my other car. But like I said, once I put a gallon of water and a gallon of coolant, then I'm going to go with extra coolant instead of water, because if you put extra water, you're going to just weaken the strength of the coolant at the temperature it will allow to operate till until it freezes. So I tend to go coolant after the 2 gallons instead of water. Nice snow, huh? I always make it interesting. They'd be like, oh, why don't you wait till it's not snowing? Well, why? What's the big deal, right? A little bit of snow don't kill anyone. Try to make my channel as interesting as it is. Or should I say as interesting as can be, because it's probably pretty boring to some people. But I'm trying. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to start with subscribers, and I'm trying to get better and get more content. I got a lot that I'm going to be doing this winter. On my E46 coupe, I am doing subframe reinforcement kits on the rear, doing new bushings in the rear subframe, new wheels and tires. I'm doing the body over. The sedan, I'm going to be doing some few other things too, and I'm going to be putting on the lift and checking everything, make sure everything looks good. I'm also going to be getting the cars aligned, doing some stuff like that. So please keep watching these videos and know that more videos are going to be coming up, and try to be getting as much content as possible for everyone. Alright, so now no more air coming out of the bleeder valve, and it is pouring out the water, and the filler neck is not going down. It seems to be full. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cap on and then tighten the bleeder valve screw down. And that should be good for today. Like I said, for the coolant, I'm going to, of course, start the car, drive it the first time, and after the first time and it cools, I'm going to check it, make sure it's full. But for tonight, that's good. I put exactly 2 gallons in. It's 2.2 gallons, so I'm right about there. There's probably a little bit left over in some of the hoses. So I'm going to put the cap on, and you can see when I'm screwing the cap on, it's dribbling out of the bleeder valve, so I can't get any more in there. And I'm going to tighten that bleeder valve down, and I highly recommend that you guys get the brass bleeder valve. It's an upgraded bleeder valve, because the plastic one does break, and that's actually what was broken on this one. The plastic bleeder valve was broke, so all the coolant was coming out, the coolant light kept coming on, and that ended up putting the car into limp mode, and that's why I got the car so cheap, because the transmission light was on, causing the car to be into limp mode, and the guy thought that the tranny was bad, so I went, offered him a cheap price. He said it needed a transmission, came home, saw that the coolant was low, which caused it to get hot, and when it got hot, it went into limp mode. After I fixed the bleeder valve, I filled it back up. Then I got my Bmw Foxwell scanner, went through all the system. I cleared and disabled the immobilizer limp mode that was on it, and I haven't had a single issue since. There's nothing wrong with the tranny. So it's very important to make sure your coolant system is working properly so the car doesn't overheat, and it can cause a lot of other things like the limp mode, which I got. So that cap is tight, and I'm going to tighten down this bleeder valve here. And let's get to the oil change. You don't want to over tighten it because it is plastic, and the screw that they upgraded to is brass, so you could definitely over tighten it and it will crack the plastic first, of course. So just snug as always. Alright, by the way guys, Creed wanted to say hello. He wanted to make a grand entrance on the camera here. Come here, Creed. What's up? So here he is. He loves the snow. So it's snowing, like I said, which makes it fun. So what I use for oil is Mobil 1. BMW recommends Castrol, but Mobil 1 is just as good, and that's what I choose to use. I also use a high mileage because the car has high miles, and it has additives in there that help kind of lubricate the motor a little better. So I recommend for the E46s with 6 cylinders, like the 330s, the 325s, the 323s, they recommend 6.5 quarts of fluid. So I got a 5-quart jug here, then I'm going to do the 6, and I'm going to put the half in there. A lot of people run man filters, but I haven't had any issues with Wicks, and I always use Wicks. So I got a Wicks XP. XP is for the synthetics, and the number is 51223 XP if you guys decide you want to try to use it. I've had good luck with it. I haven't had any issues. So let's get to do this. Alright, so I got my 17mm. Time to get under here and pull a drain plug. Got the nice snow everywhere all over me. Pull that strain plug here. 17mm. Hey buddy, you made it on AJ's Builds. Man, feels like forever. Alright, so when you get to the top and you pull the filter off the top, what you want to use is a 36mm. That's what I use. You could just go out and buy the tools for a BMW housing, but I use a 36mm, and that's what fits, and that works fine for me. So that's what we're going to use today. First, so 6.5 quarts, so I'm going to put 6.5 in, and I'll leave that half quart out of it. One more quart. Made a little bit of a mess here. Alright, that is... Alright, that's 6.5, and the best part is, take my half quart if I ever need it, and I pour it in my little cubby here. Because, what else is that for? I mean, come on. You put your oil in there, what else do you do? I always wonder what that's for, so that's what I do. I put my oil in there. Alright, let's put the cap back on quick, and again, my usual, brake clean. Look at this. No, it's ridiculous. Brake clean. Get that all... Oop. Probably want to spray it at the motor. That would be helpful. And I'm going to wipe it off with my snow-filled rags. AJ's Builds. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. See you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share. Please subscribe. And you can also follow me on Instagram at AJ's Builds. Alright, guys. Talk to you later. I'm going to go warm up.